If you don't want to get tied up in the Middle East and Persian Gulf, you shouldn't be using arms sales as a primary tool of your policy. I'm Bill Hartung, and I run the Arms and Security Project at the Center for International Policy. I work on Pentagon budget issues and also on the global arms trade. I've been doing this for more than 25 years at a series of think tanks. Arms sales have been a central instrument of foreign policy at least since Richard Nixon. He decided to use arming surrogates like the Shah of Iran as a post-Vietnam strategy for not having to put boots on the ground. And ironically, there's a similar thing happening in the Obama years. He doesn't want a big war like the Bush war in Iraq, so he's sending special forces, he's using drones, and he's making record arms deals. So for example, he has cut deals for $50 billion with Saudi Arabia since he came into office. Every year, the United States outranks every other supplier in the world by a large margin. And I think it's a combination of this strategy of arming allies, and then of course it's huge business for U.S. arms manufacturers, many of which have been living high off the hog under this Pentagon buildup. The big issue with the arms trade is the arms last much longer than the relationships that they were premised on. For example, Saudi Arabia now is waging a brutal war in Yemen, where they've been accused of war crimes, where they're bombing hospitals, marketplaces, water supply systems, using U.S. aircraft, U.S. bombs, including cluster munitions, which are banned under international law. It's a huge humanitarian crisis, probably second only to Syria. And this does nothing for United States interests in the region. Not only is it bad for our reputation, but it's opened up space for Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula to get its own foothold in Yemen. So it's completely counterproductive. The arms trade is a huge thing to get your arms around, but there's things we can do. There's the UN Arms Trade Treaty, which President Obama has signed, has not been ratified. But I think whoever is in office should observe that not only in the letter, but in the spirit. And were we to do so and also observe our own laws in this regard, we wouldn't be arming human rights abusers like Saudi Arabia. Likewise, I think there's weapons that are specifically and very much more damaging than others, like landmines and cluster munitions. I think the United States should sign on to the cluster munitions ban. As it is now, our cluster munitions that we've supplied many years ago have been used in Yemen in violation of international law. So I think that should be done. I think also there should be action on specific deals. And then I think the final thing is, let's look at how much we're paying for this, because a lot of these things are subsidized. The Pentagon has now authority under 70 different parts of the law to provide some kind of arms and training to countries around the world. And we don't even know what they're doing half the time. I would like to see, as we move towards the general and when the platforms are put together, I'd like to see this issue elevated, because I think there's really very few upsides to this kind of reckless arms trading that we've been seeing in recent years. Hillary Clinton certainly has a more assertive approach towards military intervention than does Sanders. Trump, it's entirely based on what day you talk to him. One day he's going to bomb ISIS into submission, the other day he's going to let the Russians do it, and on day 3 he's going to make up a new excuse. For more information, there's 2 good websites to go to. One is ciponline.org and the other is securityassistance.org.